Good morning. This is Rob Bell, and this is another episode of Broken Record Chronicles. We broadcast every Friday morning here from our studio in Atlanta, Georgia, and we talk about crime in America in nauseam as if it's a broken record. We want to provide you with information regarding the issues surrounding crime in our particular communities and how that crime has a drastic effect on the well being of our everyday citizens. Well, as you know, we are in a war we're not in a war. We're heavily monitoring the war between Russia and the Ukraine. And I guess our response to that is to put sanctions on Russia with regards to their economics and how those economics relate to the United States. But we also want to provide support to the Ukrainians and give them an opportunity to come to America, or if we can provide any assistance regarding food or supplies or anything that they need, so that we can deem ourselves as being the humanitarians of the world. We seem to fall into that category in just about everything that happens when crises occur around the world. We put ourselves in positions or a position to be, for lack of a better word, big brother. And we want everybody to operate under a democratic system where everybody is afforded the same opportunities as everybody else. And based on that, we get an opportunity to live happily ever after. The only issue that I have with that is the United States, and nobody really never wants to say this, but the United States is a fraud because we can't even take care of our own people here in the United States. We don't even provide a real democratic opportunity for our own people here in the United States. We don't even give people an opportunity to have a slice of the pie here in the United States. We operate off of a system to where it is the haves and the have-nots. And the rich seems to continue to get richer, and the poor seems to continue to remain poor. And then there's most of us who are in the middle trying to survive and live in these United States. The reason I kind of preface what I want to talk about with that is the fact that a lot of what we go through in our respective neighborhoods, and I'm going to pin it down to the Black neighborhoods across the country, because as far as we know, that's where a majority of the crime is being perpetrated. And the reason why I say as far as we know, because that's what we are shown on the television and in media on a daily basis. All we see is people getting carjacked. We see people getting murdered. We see the homicide rate in our major cities being elevated to a degree to where they're becoming record numbers. And uh, it's it's totally getting out of hand. And so when you talk about the responsibility of the United States in terms of handling and taking care of its own people, we seem to be more concerned with taking care of everybody but our own. When you put people in a position to not get a slice of the pie or not participate in the quote unquote American dream, then you create a situation that we have today where people are just frustrated and fed up. And the result is crime and a enormous amount of crime. You have parents that have to work 2, 3 jobs. You have people who are living below the poverty line. You have people who are being given a poor education. You have young people who are not being pushed to be achievers or overachievers. And the result is they're not getting what they need in order for them to be viable in the workforce. And so they're just kind of sitting around figuring out what to do. And as the cliche goes, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. And when you don't provide young people with an opportunity to move forward, they're going to find other opportunities, which in a lot of cases are not positive opportunities. And so, if you are paying attention to the news that's being spread across the media and our televisions, most of these crimes that are being perpetrated by young people. And I'm talking about a variety of crimes, not just murders and homicides and shootings and carjackings. I'm talking about domestic violence. I'm talking about burglaries, robberies. I'm talking about crimes that are affecting the everyday citizen to the point to where people are afraid to come out their doors. And every time you do come out, you got to look over your shoulder. And that's really no way to live. And I know it's not the responsibility of the United States to kind of come in and save the day, because it has to be a situation where people start to develop a mindset and figure out how to take care of themselves and take care of their own. But to a larger degree, if the government is not providing some kind of backroom support to people, even when they do want to figure it out and take care of themselves and take care of their own, if the government is not providing any backroom support in terms of economics, then how do you expect people to step up to the plate and get to a point to where they can move forward in their particular lives? You got people making uh, less than $15 an hour going to work every day. And less than $15 an hour is certainly not enough money to take care of themselves, and definitely not enough money to take care of a family. And so when you have law-abiding citizens and people who are accepting those dollars and going out there and trying to bust their hump and survive and make it in the world every day and still not making it, then, they're stuck in the middle. Well, we live in a new age now where we have people who we call and have labeled millennials. And the new generation and the millennials are not standing for that. They're not accepting taking less than 15 or even $15 an hour. They're not accepting working in fast food places. They're not accepting working in the service industry or the restaurant business or the hotel business, making people's beds and taking people's baggage up to their rooms. They're not accepting those types of jobs. And yeah, it is on them. It is. It is on them to educate themselves and put themselves in a position to get jobs that are better than that. But even if they do and when they do, those jobs are really not that much better. And so you have a group of people who have decided to say, F it, and they've become lawless. And I always say this, have decided to generate and work for the biggest employer in the community, and that's the drug industry. And as much as nobody wants to really talk about this, a large majority of the homicides and handgun deaths are occurring because of the war on drugs. A lot of the homicides and uh, handgun deaths are caused by people being involved in gangs and gangs controlling drug territory, and then drug territory becoming areas of gang wars between the gangs. On the flip side, you got a lot of young, promiscuous young people who decided that they want to steal people's cars and carjack people and jump in and take the car and go for a joyride only to dump it 20, 30, 40 minutes later and move on to the next car. There was some talk in Philadelphia a couple of weeks ago where they were looking at a carjacking gang car ring where these young people have decided to get together and go throughout the city and carjack people's cars and perpetrate crime. You had a crime a couple of weeks ago where just these young ladies were driving down the street and these young men stuck their heads in the car when they were stopped at a light and tried to talk to them. And I guess some words were exchanged, and one of the young ladies used pepper spray to spray the guys and took off, and they followed the car and they shot in the car. And so we are a society now that has, because of the proliferation of handguns, decided to, uh, you know, squash our differences by using violence and using handguns, which causes crime in our community. Down here in Georgia, the governor has signed a bill that says you can purchase a handgun without a gun permit, without a background check. And so I got to tell you, everybody down here in Atlanta, Georgia has a gun. And we have what we call an open carry law. And everybody can just carry their gun like we're in Wild Wild West. We're in Gunsmoke. And if somebody does something to you that you don't like, and you get into an argument, 9 times out of 10, somebody's going to pull out a handgun, and here we go. We got a gunfight. And somebody gets shot. Somebody's being shot down here almost on a daily basis, coming out of a nightclub as a result of a domestic violence dispute, as a result of jealousy, as a result of a carjacking, as a result of just about a plethora of incidents and crimes that people decide they want to commit, based on the fact that they have a handgun. And so this issue of crime is like sitting in a bowl of Cheerios and somebody dipping a spoon in and stirring it around, and depending on what you pull out is what you get of the bowl. And we in this society, and I have to narrow it down, we in our communities have to change our mindset and decide that we are not a society of wolves, but a society of people who have the ability to make logical decisions. And the result of making those logical decisions can end up in harmonious situations as opposed to people being killed. But at the same time, our government entities, our cities, our states, and the United States government has to provide the everyday citizen and the people who are living in the community with some type of support to show them that there's a ray of hope and a way to get out of these situations. People have no hope. Young people especially have no hope. They have no vision. They look at their lives as saying and being very short. You talk to a young person today and they will tell you flat out, I only expect to live till I'm 30 years old. And so why should I educate myself? Why should I work hard at a job that's leading nowhere? Why can't I have the things that the people who are living good have? And if I'm going to only live until I'm 30, I'll just go out there and take it. I don't give a damn about the next person. We are living in a community of psychopaths where people have a severe indifference to human life. And if they have that mindset in terms of only living to 30, that's a dangerous person, because that's just going to take what they want and not really give a damn about how it affects the person that they took it from, nor how it affects the person's life and family that they perpetrated the crime against. You know, when a young person perpetrates a crime, it's a disaster full circle. In more cases than not, that person goes to jail for the rest of their life. 14, 15 years old, you're going to jail for 30, 40, 50 years. That's unfathomable. And then at the same time, the person that you perpetrated the crime against, the victim, he's dead. And then his family or her family has to suffer that loss for the rest of their lives. And you got parents burying their children. You got parents watching their children get incarcerated and going to jail for the rest of their life. And we're just losing young people on both sides of the fence all the way around. And then it seems to me that people are just standing around watching this happen. And the domino effect doesn't affect me. Why should I care? Not in my neighborhood. I raised my children to be different. And my expectations of them are going to be a lot different than the expectations of the people who are raising their children to go out there and commit these heinous crimes. So I urge our people, my people, Black people, to, number one, if you have younger children, start to train them up in a way that you give them an opportunity to have some vision and some hope, and let them know that your life expectancy is not 30 years old. You should aspire to be and live as long as you can. Teach your children that. Provide them with some morals and some values, and stress their education, and stress the fact that you can, as corny as this sound, be whatever you want to be, but you have to put the work in. You have to put the hard work in. And I'm here to support you when you do that. It's not the people out in the street that's going to support you. I'm here to support you. We're here to support you. You come from a family. You come from not only a biological family, you come from a family which is a village. Because people are tired of this crime in their community. So everybody's going to rally around you and support you and make you understand that you are of value. And if each one of us teaches our children those things, and it starts to generate throughout the community and multiply, then maybe we can turn this thing around. Maybe, just maybe, we can turn this thing around. We have a generation that we've lost. There's unfortunately not a lot we can do with that generation. And as much as you can or want to sit down and talk to them, you can do it until you're blue in the face. They are hell-bent on doing what they want to do. And so we have to start with the younger generation. And maybe over the course of the next 10 years or so, we can flip this thing around. My name is Rob Bell, and this is the Broken Record Chronicles. If you like what you hear and what I talk about, make sure you press the like button, the thumbs up button. Make sure you provide me with a comment or several comments and let me know how I'm doing. And by all means, share this with your friends and family. The internet is a wonderful, wonderful tool to get information out across the board. And lastly, make sure you subscribe to this video. Have a great day, and we'll see you next Friday on Broken Record Chronicles.